Hi everybody, this is Deborah from Dinglefoot.com, and today I'm going to show you an easy card that you can make using any paper that has a larger pattern such as this one. So I'll need my paper. I have a very small piece of ribbon, and this was a wired ribbon so it's nice and stiff to put on, but you can use any type of ribbon you have. And I will need a craft knife. This card is going to basically be made with cutting techniques, and you really don't need any other embellishments besides your ribbon, but of course if you want to add extra things, my card has flowers on it, so I might add some little jewels, and of course some kind of sentiment, whether you stamp it or use a sticker form. So your important tool today is going to be a craft knife, and for this card all you have to do is grab your piece of paper, and whatever your pattern is, just decide where you want to cut. I want my design to flow from small to large, so I'm going to be cutting around my paper here. I'm going to go around this little curly, cut out around my flower and leaves, and you might want to also mark your paper before you begin cutting so you don't lose your train of thought, what you had planned out. So I'm going to cut across this little piece. If you can see, it has a little swirly or a little vine that goes up, and I don't want that. I'm going to cut around here, around my flower, and it's going to come out on this edge where this leaf meets the edge of the paper. Then I'm going to go back in and cut around my leaves. So this little part will be gone, and this big part on my paper is going to also be gone. I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and I will be back to show you the rest of my cutting techniques, because we're also going to cut around some of our images in the paper and pop them up or bend them up to give our card a little more of a three-dimensional look. Okay, I got my design cut around. Our next step is to choose some areas that we would like to cut out inside the design, just so that these things can be popped up a little bit. If I'm looking at this paper, I think what I would naturally want to do is cut just the tips of some of these little tiny leaves. I don't know if you can see them too well. There's tiny little leaves here. We don't want to cut the whole way around, of course, because it will take the whole piece out. I just want to be able to pop them up. So I'm going to go around and cut all these little edges, and I think around the swirl I'd like to pop that up. And these won't necessarily be popped up with anything, but you can kind of puff them up so that your card has a three-dimensional look. We could cut around part of this leaf. We could cut around the petals of any flower. And even this design, it's not a solid design, but we could cut around these little leaves. They're kind of little scribble leaves, so it's not a solid leaf, but I could cut around the tips of those. Maybe some other swirl right here, and around this flower. So whatever the design is on your paper is what is going to dictate what you want to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of these pieces just to show you what you can do with your paper. Okay, now we can kind of see what I cut, and we'll just go underneath and just take the little tips and push them up. So everything that you cut, just have it stick up. Let's see if I cut this one through. Okay, I did. But so all over your card we'll have little pieces like this that are stuck up. You can even take your pencil, if you have a flower that's not sticking up the way you want, just kind of curl it around your pencil. I did the tips of some of the little leaves here. I did the swirl, and I did the tips of this flower and some other leaves. So all over your card you're going to want to make sure these are popped up before you glue it so they don't get glued down. See my little leaves here. So once you have them popped up the way you want, just take your glue, put some on the back, avoiding the areas that you cut, and just place it on the front of your card. First of all, you might want to put your ribbon on. I'm going to want to do that first because my design comes across to the edge of the card. So go ahead, get some type of tacky glue or ribbon glue for your ribbon, because otherwise it will seep right through and make it look really bad on the front side. So we're going to put our ribbon right against the edge. And just put the front on our card. And then you can add whatever greeting you have for it, and it will be finished. Okay, so let me grab some glue for the paper part here. Just going to go right around the edges. Put a little bit on the flower there so that sticks too. It's going to go right on the front. Let's see. Move it over there. And you can always puff your little pieces, cut pieces back up again. Okay. And there you go. I think I'll take a little bit of extra jewels to put on mine. Let's cut through this one. Just kind of livens up the centers of the flowers a little bit. Put one there. And see a little bit smaller one for the smaller flowers. Oops, I kind of dropped that one. Okay. So we can get that in the middle there. And put one in the middle of this flower. So this is a really easy card. You can do it with about any paper you have, especially those designs that seem too big for your scrapbook pages. Just seems like they'll overwhelm your picture. This is a good way to use those designs. Then I'm going to get, I will just use stickers today just because it's easy. I'll just put a little happy birthday at the top. And I'm going to be done. It was just as simple as that. There we go. Thanks so much for watching.